Welcome to Branch Area Career Center Business Math, and this is the introduction to the online course. When you're done watching this video, you'll be able to navigate comfortably around the online portion. You'll know how the book text works with the online portion, and hopefully you'll have a good understanding of how everything fits together. So let's get started. First off, before you start, anytime you're accessing the course, have your book ready. The instructor should have already given you the book, and if not, make sure you have it. Okay, and then have yourself a piece of paper, a pencil, and a calculator available. Once you have all your supplies available, you're ready to access the course. I want to give you first a brief overview of how the course works, and then I'll tell you about the nuts and bolts of it. Like most textbooks, this book is outlined in chapters, and each chapter in this text has various sections, and this is how the modules in this course are worked out. So in this example, if you look on the left, you'll see section A and chapter A and chapter B. And in order to get from chapter A to chapter B, you have sections to do. So once you do the activities, and usually there's 4 activities per section. So once you're done with activities in section 1, in this case, in section A1, A2 will become available, and you'll be able to do the activities in that section. And then the following section will become available, and then the following section will come available. And at the end of all the sections within a chapter, the chapter test will become available. And only after you've completed the chapter test will the following chapter become available. So really, it's just a series of releases that will happen, and I'll show you how those will look in a minute. Let's take a look at what the sections look like. Within each section, you have several activities, and usually there's about 4 activities. In fact, there's always 4 activities that you do. First off, you're going to do a brief writing prompt, and you'll write a paragraph pretty much for every section, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in a second. But once you've submitted the paragraph, you'll have a little bit of reading to do and a brief assessment. Don't worry, it's something pretty easy. To make sure that you've understood the terms of the chapter. Once you're done with that, you'll watch a video lesson. Once you're done with the video lesson, you'll go ahead and do some homework, and the homework is actually the section quiz. You got to get all the homework questions right in order to be able to release the following section. You with me? So we got chapters and we got sections. Let's take a look at some of the nitty-gritty. Start with the textbook. When we look at the textbook, the Living in the Real World section are excellent little vignettes that talk about what the chapter is talking about and kind of tells you how it actually looks in the real world. The Draw Conclusions section in here is your writing prompt. You're going to write a paragraph about the Draw Conclusions section, and you'll look at the writing prompt rubric within the course in order to get some real specific guidelines on how to do that. And I'll show you where that's at in a minute. So always read the Living in the Real World. I think it really is helpful and important, and it's going to hone your writing skills, which is so critical in business. Once you're done with the Living in the Real World section, which is the writing prompt, you're going to go into the hourly or the opening paragraph, and this is the reading section. And you can see typically the reading is not very onerous within the section, but it has some critical terminology that you have to understand. When you get done with the reading section, you'll have a brief assessment that's just going to really either be a jumbled sentence or a fill in a blank or something like that. That's going to make sure that I know you have read the unit, read the paragraph, and understood what you read. Let's take a look at the online portion of it. The online portion of it you've already been to, obviously, because you're watching this video. And I want to just tell you a little something about a few of these buttons on the left. First, the course information button is really important because it's going to be where you access the syllabus and also where you're going to access the writing prompt rubric. So the course information is really important that you look at that, review it, print out the writing prompt rubric, because that's what's going to be used to grade your paragraph that you write before every section. So make sure you look at that. The business math button is where you're going to be all the time. The whole course is really inside the business math button. So all your chapters, all your sections, everything is accessed in the business math button. I put the personal information button in so you can change your password if you'd like. So put punch on that button, read around, you'll be able to change your password and do some other stuff in there. The My Grades button tells you exactly what you would expect, how you're doing in the course, and you can review your grades. And if you ever have any problems, the Help button is pretty good too. Gives you some help with Blackboard. Okay? So that just gives you a few ideas about some of the buttons that are going to be most useful to you. Let's go into the Business Math button and make sure you understand everything that there is in there. When you hit the Business Math button, after you've done your introduction or introductory video, you will see Chapter 1 show up. Now don't worry, there's more than one chapter. You're only going to see one chapter. You might say, hey, wait a minute, where's the rest of them? Don't worry, the rest of them are all there, but we're going to start with just one chapter at a time, and the rest of them should become available automatically as you progress through the course. So once you're done with the introduction section, and after you're done reading this, I want you to go ahead and hit the Mark Reviewed button, and that's just going to be a way to keep track of what you got done. So you're going to say, okay, I've reviewed this and I know what I'm doing. And once you hit the Mark Reviewed button, the first section will become available, Section 1.1 within Chapter 1. So we're still in Chapter 1. This is Section 1.1. You're going to go ahead and click that, and the Living in the Real World section shows up. And all you do is just read the Living in the Real World section. You're going to click the link right there, and then it's going to give you some instructions and say OK. And when you hit the OK button, the Living in the Real World assessment shows up. And really all this is just a little essay question. You type your paragraph in the space provided, hit OK, and you're good to go. Once you're done with the Living in the Real World section, the Chapter 1 reading will show up. And this is, again, a little bit of an assessment, and you're going to get pretty good at this. You're just going to click the link, and that will all start, and you'll take care of that little assessment, and that's just pretty simple. Make sure you understand the terms. Once you're done with that, the video will become available. You're going to want to watch the video. This is really critical. This is where the actual learning takes place. And once you're done with the video, the homework will show up. A couple things to tell you about the homework. This is pretty darn important. For one, you have to get all the answers of the homework right, or else you can't progress. Okay, so you have to be careful. You have to get it all done right, and it's got to be done in the way it's supposed to be done. For instance, in this one, it's questions 3 through 17, odd number questions only. And see where it says important there? You got to include both decimal places in all answers, even if the decimals are 0. Do not include dollar signs. For example, $57 needs to be entered as 5700. I'm going to show you this again because that's so important. So, for instance, let's say you're into the homework, and a couple things to talk about here. First off, if you would enter 51 as it's entered here and see how it says Q3, that's actually corresponds with the textbook question 3. It's going to say Blackboard thinks it's question 1, but actually this is the answer to question 3 in your homework. Okay, if you type this in like this, this would be considered wrong answer. It cannot be typed in like that. You do not include dollar signs, and always include 2 decimal places. So it's $51, it's 51.00. Got it? That's really important. And as long as I'm here, let me make sure you look at these questions. Sometimes it just says Q3 or Q4 as it does here. Sometimes it actually says question 3 or question 4, whatever. This is the textbook questions. So make sure that you know what you're supposed to do, and I'll give you a hint, okay? It's always odd. You're always going to do the odd number questions, and it usually starts at 3. Just read the instructions and you'll get it, okay? And that's pretty much it. When you're done with all the sections in the chapter, you're going to take the test. The test, you don't have to get them all right, but you sure want to try to get them all right if you can. Those are going to be mostly multiple choice questions. Do the best you can on those, and you'll be able to progress through the course. So now you know how to read the textbook. You know how to navigate through the course. Go ahead and